Listen at 610 AM, 102 FM.
I listen, therefore I know.
Online at kvnutalk.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
I listen on the app.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Roof Rescue. The grass fire burning near the base of Ogden Canyon is now 25% contained, according to fire crews. Weber County residents were being evacuated as a precaution due to the high heat and dry fuels around the area. Utah Fire announced that no structures were at risk anymore, and all evacuations were lifted as of 9 p.m. last night. About 30 homes were evacuated, affecting about 80 people, but no structures reportedly caught fire. Fire officials were headed to the Ogden fire starting at about 4 p.m. Yesterday. The fire, initially named Rainbow Fire, has since been renamed Valley Fire, according to Utah fire officials. The fire was located east of Harrison Boulevard and 12th Street. Crews described the fire as spreading quickly. According to officials, Valley Drive near El Monte Golf Course was shut down while crews attacked the flames. An evacuation area was set up at the LDS Meeting House at 1550 Rushton Street in Ogden. The fire was estimated to be burning about 9 acres. The cause of the fire remained under investigation, and crews remained on the scene into today. KVNU News Time is 5:06. KVNU weather for tonight: partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy, not as hot tomorrow. Patchy smoke in the afternoon, high around 90. And then much cooler Friday, high around 80. 97, I think that's a new record for the date for September 7th. 97 has been our high. It's 95 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Whole Tree Care. They trim, shape, and remove trees and shrubs and clean it up as well. Ask about their radio discount. Call 435-760-6587.
This is Mark with Roof Rescue. Most of us don't think about our roofs very often until you see shingles on the ground or water drips through your ceiling. Keep your roof in tip-top shape to protect your home, your biggest investment. Roof Rescue uses only the highest quality materials with experienced workmanship guaranteed to last. Even if you were denied by your insurance company the first time, a free re-evaluation can be made. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free consultation in Cache Valley and surrounding areas. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
KVNU News Time is 5:07. A heat wave that's baking parts of the U.S. West has broken the all-time September temperature record for Salt Lake City, according to the National Weather Service. Salt Lake City recorded a high of 106 Fahrenheit on Tuesday, one day after setting the record for the month at 104 degrees. It was the hottest September day recorded going back to 1874. The previous record high for September was 100 degrees. Salt Lake has also set a record in 2022 for the number of days with triple-digit temperatures at 33. The previous record was reached 3 different times in 2021, 1994, and 1960. The Weather Service said the dangerous heat wave would continue through today. Authorities warn people who work outside to take precautions and to never leave children or pets in unattended vehicles. Police in neighboring Idaho were investigating the weekend death of a baby girl who was left in a car as temperatures soared in the region. And in California, state officials warned that the chances of power outages will grow in coming days as the heat intensifies. And Governor Cox and healthcare community stakeholders gathered at the Capitol on Tuesday to celebrate a collective commitment to statewide goals that will make Utah the national leader in cost-efficient, innovative healthcare. Cox said addressing the cost of healthcare has become an economic imperative. Failing to do so will stunt Utah's economic growth by constraining employer profits, decreasing employee wages, and crowding out other state spending priorities. The effort is driven by the One Utah Health Collaborative, a community-owned nonprofit 501c3 launched by the governor last fall that aims to transform health care in Utah. As part of the ceremony Tuesday, the governor committed to 3 goals related to Medicaid and other initiatives. KVNU News Time is 5:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
When news breaks, we break in. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
This year's Grand Latino Festival is Saturday, September 17th on Center Street in Logan. All are invited to celebrate the Latin culture with delicious food, lively music, dancing in the streets, and cultural performances. Festivities get underway at 4 p.m. with a parade of flags and authentic Latin dress. Then work off the calories to everyone's favorite dance-based workout, Zumba. This year's Latino Festival is presented by Gosner Foods, where you can earn between $15 and $20 an hour, quarterly bonuses, and free health insurance. Members First Credit Union. Our name says it all. Thermo Fisher Scientific. Thermo Fisher is hiring. Join their team today. iFit, a global company committed to diversity and inclusion, welcomes everyone to the Latino Festival. Bring your family, your friends, and especially your appetite to the Grand Latino Festival, Saturday, September 17th, starting at 4 p.m. on Logan Center Street.
Finding comfort outdoors by upgrading your landscape is now easy and possible with the creative touch of Canyon Landscaping. Designed planting beds, landscape lighting, and paver patio upgrades will let you easily relax, entertain, and enjoy your home. Elegantly designed, professionally installed, on a budget, on time, guaranteed. Discover more at canyonlandscaping.com. Then call to schedule your free consultation. Call 752-3838 or go to canyonlandscaping.com. Canyon Landscaping. Look for the leaf.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Hour 2 of today's show, Wednesday, September 7th. I'm Jason Williams, Bill Walter here in the studio as well. And it is time for the County Hour. Once a month, we have an opportunity to sit down with Cache County Executive David Zook and sometimes guests and talk county business. There is plenty of it going on, and not all of it road construction, though it might seem that way. Everyone taking advantage of the good weather still out there, cities, county, the state. Still a lot of orange cones out there, but a lot getting done as well before the winter months set in and it has to come to a stop. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and that's what we'll be talking about this hour. You're welcome to join us, 753-5868. And I shouldn't say behind the scenes, David, because it sounds like there's something secretive going on. But we do have a tendency to only interact with our cities and our counties when there's road construction, when there's something that annoys us, when the power goes out, when a stop sign's down, or when a stop sign's up and it's new. That's usually how most of us. So I really appreciate this hour as it's happened. I was thinking about this during hour 1, going back to 3 county executives. We started this with Lynn Lemon. Yeah. And so a pleasure to be able to step inside the workings of the county in a way that, again, most of us don't really think about through our daily life. But a pretty exciting time for the county.
Yeah, it is. And I just want to thank you because you're right. A lot of this stuff does happen behind the scenes. When it's a road project, it's very visible. It's in your face. You know about it.
And we're all complaining.
Yeah, but some of the sausage making happens outside of the public eye. And, of course, we should, I think governments at every level could do a better job of communicating with the public. And that's one of the things that we've been working on is figuring out how we can better communicate with the public, what we're doing, why we're doing it, when we're doing it, where we're doing it. And road projects are definitely something we've been working on. We have some really big road projects we've been working with UDOT on. One of them is SR30. We've been working for years to get that widened.
Glad to see UDOT finally prioritize that. Yeah,
and you should be seeing soon. One of the things they're going to do is they're going to pile up dirt on the sides of the road. Essentially what they need to do is they need to compress the earth there and let it sit for a little while. So they're supposed to start that and let it sit over the winter, and that'll start settling there, so that because right now it's pretty squishy out there going across those wetlands. So they'll start that process of importing the dirt and offloading it and compressing. So that'll be good. There's another project we're working with them on to get constructed as soon as possible. That's 3200 South down there by Ted's on the edge of Nibley. And
I'm excited about that project.
It's a huge safety improvement. It's so dangerous right now with the offset intersection. There's no signal.
And
too many accidents.
Heavy traffic at certain times of day when certain shifts get off at I think two different. Well, first you have all the parents picking up kids at 3 or 2:30. You have a shift that gets off at JBS, and you also have in the old Weather Shield building there a shift that gets off. Yeah, and it's. I'm excited to see a light go in there.
Another one I've heard from a lot of residents about that they've been concerned about, and they asked me to talk to UDOT about, and I have talked to them, is 1800 South and 10th West. There have been some really serious accidents there. So
that's a tough one too.
Yeah,
not a lot of easy solutions to that one.
It's not. It's because it's so close to the intersection with 8991. It's hard to do much there. And what UDOT has told me they're going to do, they agree that it is dangerous and they're going to do something about it. And they've told me that they're going to make it a right in, right out only.
Oh, okay.
I know some people will not like that or not enjoy going through that because it'll make it a little more difficult to get out of there or to get in if you're coming in from 89.
Sure.
But it's extremely dangerous. There have been some serious accidents there, and they recognize that as well, so they're taking action. So we have, I think, a really good partnership with UDOT and working with them to address our state roads, because those really are our busiest roads in the county are managed by the state. They're owned by the state. They control them. So 8991, Main Street, Logan Canyon, Wellsville Canyon. We've got SR 30, 165 going down through Nibley into Hiram. 101 going up Blacksmith Fork Canyon.
Busy too.
We have all of these roads that we really don't have any direct control over what happens on them, but they're our busiest roads. So it's critical that we have a good relationship with UDOT, that we communicate to them our needs, and they are very responsive to, and they listen to our needs. They actually ask us whenever they have a project. They do a great job of coming out and meeting with us. They meet with us periodically. Nice. They'll actually come here to our community. They'll go out and look at problems. So that's critical. Of course we've had a ton of county road projects as well, and all the cities doing their projects. This is construction season, right? It is. We have winter and construction. Those are our two seasons.
Very
in Cache
necessary.
Valley. So a lot of chip sealing. It's kind of annoying with all that loose gravel over the summer, but it does a lot of good to preserve our roads so that they last a lot longer.
I didn't understand how much. I knew that chip sealing was done because it's a cheaper option with basically the same effect. I didn't understand how much cheaper. Let me rephrase that. I didn't understand how expensive it would be for the county to do otherwise. Reseal the road.
Yeah, so this is the industry stat for road maintenance, which this is, I guess maybe we're getting a little nerdy here, but
that's all right. We can do that occasionally.
It costs 10 times as much to replace a road if you don't maintain it. So there are a couple different ways you can go about it. You could take the approach of, okay, that road was constructed, and when it falls apart, we'll rebuild it. That's going to cost you 10 times as much if you just maintain it. If you go out and you seal the cracks, if you put some kind of surface treatment on it, and different roads, different conditions require different surface treatments. Sometimes it's just like a fog seal type sealer. Sometimes you need to seal the cracks. Sometimes you need to actually add more rock to it. Sometimes you actually have to grind it down and put another layer of asphalt.
Oh, yeah.
So it depends on the road, on what it's made of, how much traffic it gets, what kind of condition it's in. But doing those things costs 1/10 the cost of if you do nothing and you just wait till it crumbles.
Sure.
So that's why it's so critical that we get out there and we take good care of these roads. Not to mention the fact that if you're not maintaining it, now you're having potholes and so many other issues going on. It just causes it to deteriorate. The biggest culprit in destroying our roads is water.
Yeah.
So if you allow those cracks to open up, water gets in there, it erodes it
Gets
underneath
worse fast, right?
and then all of a sudden it crumbles. So we need to do that. We need to stay out there and stay on top of these road projects. We're working on one right now that we're paving, and it's the road that goes up to Deep Canyon Trailhead in Mendon.
Oh, wow.
And that one has been so popular. It's a dirt road. It's been a dirt road for years. It's not in that great a condition. We're actually
pretty rough.
paving a big segment of it.
That's very nice.
This summer, we're going to hopefully have that segment done before the end of the season.
Oh, that's going to excite people because that has been, especially during the pandemic, that has been a hot spot for hikers, for ATVs. Yeah,
we're actually using some of our pandemic money to do that because of that, because it exploded during the pandemic. People said, okay, let's go outside and do something. And Mendon has this incredible trail they built there called Wayne's Loop, and just became super popular. They ended up having to close it down. It's still closed as far as I know, because we need to pave the road,
nice.
There's going to be a parking lot built. We're still working on details about the rest of it, but
That's nice.
we're getting the road paved.
People will be excited about that. Before I forget, I thought of you yesterday. We had Garden City Mayor Mike Linhart. It was funny. I called just to ask if he would give us 10 minutes by phone, and he said he was in Logan, so he actually stopped by.
Awesome.
But just sheer timing luck there. But he told us, he brought up, we were talking about traffic and tourism and for Garden City, and it reminded me of your push to add a safety net of sorts to Logan Canyon with cell phone towers.
Yeah.
I know that's not something that the county or even the state necessarily can just say, okay, fine, we'll do it. There's a lot of different players involved right there.
Yeah.
But any updates on that? It's going to be a lengthy process, right?
I've been working with Senator Wilson and the broadband committee that he's involved with at the state, and we feel confident that we're going to be able to get the money we need. However, nothing's guaranteed at this point. And it has, I guess when I say confident, I'm saying we have a positive attitude about it. We're having a positive attitude.
Because in the end, it's up to the state committee, right?
There are a lot of other requests out there, but we are giving it a good fight, and we feel like we will see some good news in the coming year about that. So we're still working on that. We've had several conversations about it this year. During the legislative session, I was hoping the funds would be allocated then, but what the legislature decided to do instead was to create a committee to look at all of the broadband projects and funding, and so that committee's been working. And it is a complex project because we need to work with the Forest Service. We're going to have to bring in a private company to actually build these and operate them. And UDOT has been a major player in this because that's their highway and we'll be using their right-of-way. But they want it too because it'll help them with some safety improvements like traffic cameras, some changeable message signs. So it's going to be great once we get it in. And speaking of cars, I want to tell you about my newest project I'm working on.
Oh, I'm excited.
I told you I had some exciting news.
I should have led with that. Mr. Zook said he had a big announcement for the show today.
So this has kind of been my pattern for how I do things. Is I know I don't have all the answers, but I know that we have some smart people in this valley. We have incredible people in this valley, and I believe there is no problem we cannot solve if we get the right people at the table. And so my approach has been. In tackling the suicide pandemic, the housing crisis, our open space issue is let's bring people to the table. Let's make a task force if we need to, and let's tackle this issue. Let's get all the best minds there to figure it out.
I think the open space task force is a great example of that.
They've done a fantastic job. The housing crisis task force as well is doing a great job. And there's another major problem, though, that we need to fix in Cache Valley. And I have been hearing about this, and I have been wondering what the solution is to this for forever, it seems like. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm putting together a group to investigate why the gas prices in Cache Valley are more expensive than on the other side of the mountain. I want to know that.
I want this to happen so bad. I've spent my life. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but
it feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it feels like that. Why is it? Okay, this weekend I talked to several people. I went down. My wife and I went down to Salt Lake this weekend, and when I came back, I noticed it was $4.12 in Brigham City, and then we came over the mountain. We came into Cache Valley. It was 50 cents more, almost 50 cents more per gallon. A friend of mine went to Spanish Fork.
No exaggeration. I saw the same thing.
A friend of mine went to Spanish Fork. It was $3.99 per gallon, Spanish Fork. Another friend of mine went to Island Park this weekend. It was cheaper in Island Park than Logan.
What is that about? Which should never be a thing on anything.
Yeah, why?
Right?
Why is that?
Island Park.
Because I've heard the excuse of, well, it's the transportation cost to get it there. Well, I'm pretty sure it's a little farther away.
If you're getting it to Island Park, you're coming through probably.
I want to know what the answer is. So I've had a couple of conversations already with people. I'm gonna gather some experts together, and we're gonna investigate this. I'm gonna ask them to investigate this, and I want to know what the reason is. Maybe there's nothing we can do about it. I don't know, but I want to know at least what is the reason. Why is it that it's more expensive here? There's no reason why residents in Cache Valley should have to pay 50 cents a gallon more than the residents in Box Elder County.
I think most people understand and can absorb a 10, even 15 cent fluctuation from area to area. But yeah, when you can drive, and I know I've done this, Bill. I know you've done it. When you can drive 12 miles to Perry and pay 50 cents less, you do start wondering this. And I've noticed going north too. It was actually cheaper in Preston a couple of weekends ago than it was in Richmond, which is a short distance from Preston. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm glad you're actually digging into this because I've always wanted to. And like you said, maybe we'll find, there's a surcharge of some kind that justifies it. Maybe who knows? But getting an answer would be amazing.
Yeah, I want to know what the answer is. Maybe it's a private sector thing that we have zero control over.
Sure.
But maybe there are things that we can control. Maybe there are some government regulations that I don't know about that are causing this. If that's the case, let's identify and let's see if we can do something about those, get those out of the way. I want to know what the reason is. Let's find out.
I support this. I honestly, especially again, seeing the results of the Open Space Task Force, the Housing Task Force, some important information and answers have been dug up by these task forces that make the county smarter, make future decisions by the county more informed. I'm all about it. Man, I'm excited for this. David Zook, Cache County Executive, our guest here in the studio. We'll be back with more right after this.
Our May Makita Days was such a huge success, Makita has asked us to do it again. This is Cody with Industrial Tool and Supply. Makita's Demo Days is Thursday, September 8th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will be unveiling the new 40 and 80 volt tool lines that will outlast the competition. Stop in and see all the new Makita tools for your profession. Come by Thursday for the sale of the year, ITS and Logan, making your work life better.
Hey, get prepared for the hunting season. Did you remember to bring your hunting gear, your sleeping bags, and coats into Mount Logan Laundry? With their 55 and 80-pound washers and dryers, they can do any job. And while you're at it, bring in the comforters and blankets and get ready for the colder months ahead. Try Mount Logan Laundry. For a few quarters, you can use their large-capacity washers and dryers and be done in no time. Free Wi-Fi and drop-off service. They're at the corner of 5th East and 9th North in Logan, or in Brigham on the corner of 1st East and 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Pretty excited about this breaking news here on the show today with Cache County Executive David Zook in the studio for the County Hour. And Mr. Zook telling us he's putting together a task force similar to the task force for researching and presenting to the County Council open space proposal. The housing task force, which really was one of the most revealing things I think I've ever seen in Cache Valley, things I didn't know about the demographics of the valley. A new task force that will look into something on everybody's minds right now, gas price differences. And as you said, David, maybe we'll find there's a good reason. Maybe there's some state law that causes there'd be some sort of mandated increase if you drive through a canyon or something like that. I don't know. But 50-cent difference between gas prices in Brigham City and gas prices in Cache Valley right now. A caller on the line during the break there confirming that, said they just came through. Brigham City gas was $3.99, about $4.40, $4.50 here in the Valley.
Yeah,
so,
I'm on Gas Buddy right now. I just looked it up. The 10 stations closest to here, they're all $4.44, $4.45, $4.46.
Yeah.
So up to 47 cents more per gallon.
That's
just a couple miles away.
That's a lot.
That's wild.
10, 15 cents. I think most people, yeah. But I'm excited to see where that task force goes, and I'm sure you'll have no shortage of people willing to jump in and be a part of that.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of people already. I'm still looking for a couple of experts. So if somebody's an expert in this area and like to add their technical expertise to this, I'd love to hear from them.
This is, just a moment on this topic of task force, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
This is something that. You're not doing anything through your office that is brand new, but it's something we didn't see a lot of for a long time. Putting task force together to understand an issue and then come up with a solution. I like this. I hope it continues, even when you're sick of the job and move on to something else. If that happens, this is a smart way to go about. There are a lot of things we don't fully understand in this valley. And we all get busy, even our government systems get busy, cities get busy, and so focused on the immediate sometimes. But to understand some of these things, because not only would a task force on gas prices, I think, be revealing about the gas prices themselves, but I would wager that task force is going to find some other interesting economic data while they're digging. And just amazing.
Yeah,
so,
I really love this approach because it's a way for our citizens to get actively engaged in what's happening in their community.
Sure.
We have so many good people in this community who want to be involved. They want to help fix problems. They want to have their voice heard. And we should have a government of the people, by the people, for the people, where the people are involved and taking care of business. Let them get involved and help. Because just because somebody gets elected does not make them the expert in anything or everything.
Sure.
And I'm the first to admit that I am not the expert in all of these areas. I actually have no idea what the reason is for this. I don't know. That's why I want to dig into this. I want some people to investigate this, and I want them to find out. But I think that is a good approach for solving problems. Is bring everybody to the table, bring the experts, and many minds will hopefully come up with a solution.
And I think we've seen, from Congressman Blake Moore's level to the state legislative level, we've seen the productivity of this approach. The state, I think, sometimes gets, even a little fun poked at them for the number of task forces and committees that come out of each legislative session. But, man, whether it's health care, whether it's taxation, so many things have been discovered or revealed by the work of these research task forces as they've been put together. We'd be in the dark on. I'm excited to see it. So very cool. Little aside from me there, but I know you had a million things you wanted to talk about today. So I'll stop derailing us now. What's next?
Oh no, thank you. I appreciate the time. We have a lot of stuff going on. I did want to spend a couple minutes and just talk about a couple of things that are going to be on the ballot this November.
Yeah.
We've got the open space bond, and we've got the RAPS tax reauthorization. The RAPS program, I think, is one of the key programs that we have in our community that has done a ton to improve our quality of life here in Cache Valley.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful place to start with. We're very blessed with a beautiful valley with great people, but we can always improve. We can always do better. And one of the things that we've done for the past 20 years is we decided that we're going to set aside a little money to improve our recreational amenities, to improve our cultural amenities. And the voters back in 2002 voted to approve. It's a 0.1% sales tax. And we call it RAPS, which stands for Recreation, Arts, Parks, and Zoo. And the state legislature authorized this and allowed us to do this, but the citizens have to vote for it. And in 2002, they voted for it, and then again in 2012. It lasted for 10 years, and it had to be reauthorized in 2012. The voters said, yes, let's do this again.
Sure.
And now it's been another 10 years, and it's going to be on the ballot again for the voters to vote for. And if you go through any city, if you go to any city in our valley, in Cache County here, you will see parks, you will see amenities that were paid for with these funds, with RAPS tax dollars. And
there are a lot of things that would be missing without it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
many programs.
I don't know if you have any hard data on this, but I know, I remember reading this myself, that what has been done with that 0.1% is actually mind-blowing.
It's huge.
Over the last 20 years. They've stretched those dollars a lot, that committee has. And they've been very selective and picky. I know they've gotten criticized for that even before. They're not just out there throwing money around. But yeah, they have really stretched what is a small amount of money, really, in the grand scheme of things, to do some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, just last year, that program contributed $160,000 to the zoo.
Yeah.
almost $249,000 to tourism promotion, which is an investment that makes us more money.
Yeah.
Recreational facilities, over $750,000 for recreational facilities, and over $500,000 for cultural organizations, and almost $200,000 for cultural facilities. So I can just give you some examples. Just recreational facilities. Just last year alone, we funded pickleball courts in Amalga, the Deep Canyon Trailhead that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The Trails program overall, a trail in 800 West that goes from Logan to Nibley, fairgrounds, restrooms, several things, improvements at the fairgrounds. In Logan, Logan River Trail Bridge at Trapper Park, Willow Park Sports Complex, Woodruff Park Neighborhood Park, Cornish Town Hall, Hyde Park, their Southeast Park construction, Lewiston, the sports court and rodeo grounds in Lewiston, Mendon City Square, Millville's South Park extension, playground equipment in Newton, LED lights at the tennis courts in Newton.
Kind of a big deal.
You know what? Actually, I mentioned a couple on here that were not funded. This is my full list. Some of those weren't funded.
But that's the exciting part.
The sprinkler system in Newton, North Logan, Elk Ridge Park. I have like 5 pages of stuff just from last year that are projects from Newton to Nibley, from Hiram to Clarkston, all over the county that have been benefited by this. And
I know every city has benefited.
And the citizens volunteered to do this 20 years ago. They volunteered again 10 years ago, and they'll have an opportunity to make that decision again this fall.
That's very cool.
And then those were just recreational projects that I was mentioning. We have the cultural organizations too, and the tourism promotion, which is huge because that's an investment that gets more people here to spend money, and then they leave. And when we talk about economic development, there are different things we can do for economic development, and some of them have greater impacts than others.
Yeah,
I've always been a big believer that the number one thing we can do for economic development is tourism promotion, because people come here, they spend way more than average because they're staying in hotels, they're buying souvenirs, they're eating out in restaurants. So they're paying more money into our economy than your average citizen would. They're going to shows. They're renting equipment. They're doing so many fun activities while they're here, and then they leave.
Yeah,
they're gone. So after that, they're gone.
They don't use the roads.
Yeah.
They don't use
We're
than
not
the weekend
paying for their
here.
kids to go to school.
That's right.
Yeah, they're not impacting our community in all the potentially negative ways. They just come here, spend money, and leave. So tourism is a really smart way to inject money into your economy.
Yeah,
in a way that doesn't have the long-term costs. Because they come, spend their money, and then they're gone.
Something Julie Hollis-Terrell said in a recent interview here on the show with us. So we're talking about tourism, and she said, the thing about tourism in Cache Valley is they're coming through anyway. we're giving them a reason to stop and open their wallets. Otherwise, they're just going through. And I really thought about that for a second. Yeah, for a small investment through something like a RAPS program, that you can then have something that entices people to make Cache Valley a stop for a night on their way up to Yellowstone or whatever it might be, and they spend $500 or $600 while they're here and then move on. Yeah, I mean you would be dumb to say no.
The number one program really is our summer citizens.
Yeah,
our
very
summer
popular,
citizens who come here and spend the summer here, and they stay in student housing, most of them.
Sure.
They spend tons of money. There are some of them that come here and they never cook a meal for 3 months, and they go out to a different restaurant every night for dinner.
Sure.
They dump tons of money into our economy, which is awesome, because then that gives us more restaurants than maybe we could support otherwise.
Sure.
We have a better choice of restaurants because we have all these people coming in and infusing money into our restaurants. That's a great program. And then they, in turn, support our various programs like the theater programs, the opera. They're spending tons of money there and reinvesting that into our community and making it so that we can have this incredible amenity here.
Sure.
And we didn't have to pay for it all. We of course invest in it. Our citizens go to that. We support it with some of these RAPS dollars, but a huge chunk of it is paid for from people outside of our community.
I think so. It's, that symbiotic relationship between the Utah Festival Opera and the rest of the valley is always one that comes to my mind. It probably wouldn't be sustainable with valley patrons alone. So the tourists are important for that, but then at the same time, we get it because the tourists are helping make it happen, and it's huge for the valley. Fills hotel rooms, fills restaurants on a nightly basis for 4 weeks in the summer. Anyway, I could go on. 753-5868 if you'd like to join us. Talking about the RAPS tag. This is something, the RAPS reauthorization question will be on your ballot alongside candidates, of course. And also on your ballot, we'll talk more about this on the other side, an open space question. This is a question about bonding to set aside some money with potential matches from other organizations in the state that could stretch the dollars even further to preserve open space here in the valley as we see growth explode exponentially. County Executive David Zook, our guest here in the studio. It's the County Hour on For the People, and we'll be back with more after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:42, and the news is brought to you by Whole Tree Care. Officials are offering a reward to anyone with information about an arson that occurred at the Orem Temple. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, along with the Orem Police Department, said they are offering up to $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the arson at the Orem, Utah Temple. The temple, located at 1471 South Geneva Road, was damaged by fire on the morning of July 25th. Those with information have been asked to contact ATF at 888-283-8477. Officials say there is no active threat after a Vernal middle school student brought an airsoft gun that was modified to look like a real handgun to campus Tuesday morning. A representative for the Uinta School District told Fox 13 a student reported to school leaders that he saw a fellow student with a modified airsoft handgun on campus. After the report was made, the school resource officer responded to the classroom where the student was, and the individual was escorted to the office without incident. In a press release, the Uinta School District said the student is no longer on campus, or the student is no longer there. During the investigation, other students came forward and reported that the student who had the gun warned them last Thursday not to come to school Tuesday. Officials reminded students that they are not allowed to bring replica or toy firearms, including airsoft guns, to school. An investigation into the incident is ongoing, but there is believed to be no active threat to the school. And organizers of an education funding initiative have asked to have the measure pulled from the November ballot after the Idaho legislature passed a massive tax cut and education spending bill. Reclaim Idaho's initiative, dubbed the Quality Education Act, would have generated an estimated $323 million each year for K through 12 education by increasing income taxes for corporations and the state's highest earning residents. But the new legislation creates a flat income tax bracket and increases public education funding by $410 million a year. Even if the initiative passed, it would have been negated by the legislation, which takes effect in January. Deputy Secretary of State Jason Hancock says the initiative won't appear on the general election ballot. KVNU News Time is 5:45.
Man, let's talk about something serious.
I tried the pill. It didn't work.
No, I'm talking about your yard, specifically trees and shrubs. They need your attention. You can't just let them grow unruly and wild, like your beard.
Hey!
Call Hull Tree Care. They have the crew, the experience, and knowledge to trim your trees and shrubs right. Call 760-6587 and ask for their radio discount. Hull Tree Care. That's Hull Tree Care. 760-6587.
KVNU weather for tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy, not as hot on Thursday, patchy smoke in the afternoon, high temperature around 90. And then sunny, cooler on Friday, high around 80. It's been to 97, a new record for the date of September 7th. Right now it's 93 at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue. Most of us don't think about our roofs until we see shingles on the ground or water drips through the ceiling. Keep your roof in tip-top shape by working with Roof Rescue. They'll take the time to assess, explain, and work out financial obligations with your insurance. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
This year's Grand Latino Festival is Saturday, September 17th on Center Street in Logan. All are invited to celebrate the Latin culture with delicious food, lively music, dancing in the streets, and cultural performances. Festivities get underway at 4 p.m. with a parade of flags and authentic Latin dress. Then work off the calories to everyone's favorite dance-based workout, Zumba. This year's Latino Festival is presented by Gosner Foods, where you can earn between $15 and $20 an hour, quarterly bonuses, and free health insurance. Members First Credit Union. Our name says it all. Thermo Fisher Scientific. Thermo Fisher is hiring. Join their team today. iFit, a global company committed to diversity and inclusion, welcomes everyone to the Latino Festival. Bring your family, your friends, and especially your appetite to the Grand Latino Festival, Saturday, September 17th, starting at 4 p.m. on Logan Center Street.
Loveland Living Planet Aquarium takes us outside our everyday lives, into a world of discovery. It's a chance to explore our innate curiosity, discover animals from around the world, and experience the all-new outdoor plaza and eco. More to explore at Loveland Living Planet Aquarium. Reserve your visit at thelivingplanet.com.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology would like to thank you for voting them Best Audiologist 2 years running in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines by calling 753-HEAR or visit cachehearing.com.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
The Napa Gold Filter sale is on. Stock up with up to 60% off filters. Big discounts on oil, too. Napa 15W40 diesel oil or Lubrigard 15W40 synthetic blend, $13.99 a gallon. All oils from Napa, Valvoline, Schaefer, Amsoil, Chevron, and Shell are now in stock. Seafoam motor tune-up, $6.99 a bottle. Quantities may be limited. Some items will sell out fast. The Napa Gold Filter sale through September 15 at your locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts stores.
Did you know a block dryer vent is a real fire hazard? According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, there are tens of thousands of dryer exhaust duct fires annually, leading to many injuries and death. You should have your dryer hose and the area around it cleaned once a year, and inspect the vent and hose for any blockages at least every 6 months. Don't wait for disaster to strike because your dryer vent is blocked. Give John Henson a call at the Duct Hunter. Call 770-4813 today.
Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. The two main reasons why Democrats think they can draw young voters to the polls for the November midterm elections. We'll have analysis. Also, educators try to assess how deep the learning loss has been since they sent kids to virtual instruction during the pandemic, and why young workers are most likely to be quiet quitters. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to Cache County. Excuse me. Welcome back to the County Hour here on KVNU's For the People with Cache County Executive David Zook here in studio. I almost just said, welcome back to Cache County Executive David Zook, and that would have been awkward. We've been talking about the RAPS tax. This is the renewal question, the reauthorization question will be on the ballot. Every 10 years, voters are asked if they'd like to renew this program. It's been, I mean, you can't argue it hasn't been successful. And so the question will be on the ballot on whether voters would like to continue with this investment in arts and recreation and culture here in the Valley. That'll be alongside an open space question, which we'll talk about in a bit, and, of course, candidates. Before we get to that, though, we have a guest on the line who happened to be listening and heard our conversation about the RAPS tax and Utah Festival Opera. We have with us right now the managing director of the Utah Festival Opera, Gary Griffin. And, Gary, I'm glad you were listening and able to call.
Yes, thank you. It was a very interesting conversation. I just wanted to weigh in and
Please
let people know how important the RAPS tax is to the arts community in the Valley as one of the probably the biggest user of the arts RAPS money. It is imperative for our business. I don't think we could be in business without the RAPS tax. It's a big part of our income, and it's very important to us. I just wanted to kind of expand, too, on what you were saying about tourism and just let people know that most of the people that come to the Utah Festival Opera come from out of town. We only get about 30% of our audience from Cache Valley. Half of our audience comes from outside of the state of Utah, and the other 25% come from Salt Lake and Provo and areas like this. They spend a lot of money here, money that we never see, but the citizens of Cache County really benefit from having the opera company and drawing all those people in. And you're absolutely right. They spend a lot of money, and then they go home, and that's a great thing for Cache Valley.
Sure. Gary, I know David mentioned this as well. You guys have actually looked into this before, right? The
oh yes,
economic impact, the ripple effects, as economists say, of the each night there is a festival opera event.
Yes, we've done studies on the economic impact. It's tens of millions of dollars that come in as a result of the opera. I've talked to people who've called up and couldn't find a hotel room any closer than Ogden,
sure,
because they're all full on nights that we have operas. So it's quite a draw for people.
Sure. I actually, this is anecdotal, but I know a couple from St. George that wanted to get up to a show a few years ago, and they ended up staying in Preston. That was the closest they could find. They got an
they were lucky to get that close.
That's right. Gary, it's a pleasure to have you call, and
Thank you.
I know through the years the if you had to express it yourself, the RAPS program itself. David and I have been talking about it, being a pretty big success. But any final thoughts on that? This is an investment in art, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's companies here that rely on that almost exclusively for their funding, and for us, we get about 3% of our total budget from the RAPS tax, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it certainly helps us, and it would be a shame to see it go away. The citizens really should know that it is an investment. I think you said that earlier. It's an investment in the economic engine that is Cache Valley tourism.
Sure. And the Utah Festival Opera, a great example of that, because as David and I were just discussing, y'all were able to fill Center Street at 9:30 at night on a weeknight in Cache Valley with people. That's amazing, and probably a first.
Yeah, it's a great. We celebrated our 30th anniversary this summer, and we're hard at work planning for next year. So we'll be around and hopefully bring in a bunch more people to benefit Cache County.
Oh, I'm excited to see the lineup for next year's season. And Gary, a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you for letting me.
Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
Gary Griffin, Managing Director of the Utah Festival Opera there. Just a little look into this, what David and I have been discussing, the importance of the Utah Festival Opera in Cache Valley's economy. David, I wanted to put this in perspective a little bit, because I think a lot of people think of this stuff and think, wow, it's a couple of weeks in July or something like that, which is Festival Opera is about a month, actually, from July on. But yesterday we spoke with Mayor of Garden City, Mike Linhart, and he explained to us that, and this is much more extreme than what Cache Valley deals with, but he explained to us that the businesses, hotels, restaurants, everything over there that all the locals enjoy year-round, they rely on this 60-day period each year, without which they wouldn't exist. And that really put it in perspective for me. Now, we've got more than 60 days. We've got like 90, right? Or a bit more. But it's still kind of a similar thing, right? Draw as many people as you can in during this very important tourist season. And without that, we might see a very different valley.
Yeah, economies are ecosystems. They don't operate in a vacuum. They support each other. We benefit from the fact that we've got Yellowstone up the road from us. We benefit from the fact that we've got the Mighty Five here in our state. People come to our region because they're going to maybe some of these big national parks around us, and we benefit from that. If we can convince them that this is a good place to stop, a good place to stay, and it is. What an incredible place we have here in Cache Valley.
Just don't put down roots and buy a house. Just spend your money and move on.
So I just want to say one more thing about the RAPS committee, because it's a citizen committee that reviews all the requests. Last year, and I think this is the first time ever this happened, we had more money available than we had applications. So I thought, this is going to be a 5-minute meeting. Someone's going to make a motion to just give everybody their money and we'll be done. That's not what happened at all. That committee still did the work and did exactly what they do every year. They really dug in. They really looked at the applications. Yeah. They didn't give anybody any more money than they felt like they needed. They're great stewards of these tax dollars, because that's what they are. They're the citizens' dollars. Yeah. And I just want the citizens to know that they're being looked out for. They're being spent very carefully, and the money is not given away easily. People have to work for it.
That is, I've said this before on the show. If you want to know more about the RAPS committee, go to one of the meetings, because I've done that, and I'm saying this as this is a plug, and not a criticism. They are critical. They scrutinize. They grill each and every applicant.
Yeah, they look at the finances. They look at how much did they get in the past, how much are they growing, what's going on in the rest of their budget, how much are they making. They look at every detail, and I've really enjoyed serving on that committee with them the last 2 years and seeing what a great job they do being good stewards of those tax dollars. I don't know how much time we have left, but I wanted to briefly mention the open space bond.
Yeah, this is the second question on the ballot.
The other thing that'll be on the ballot, and this is something I've been hearing for years from people. People are concerned that the things that make our valley beautiful are being gobbled up by developments.
We're seeing it.
Yeah, so
in real time.
A couple of years ago, several of us got together and we said, "What can we do about this? What are we going to do?" And so it's the same approach. We brought the best minds we could get, people who were passionate about this, and we started talking about it. And we've been talking about it for a few years now. Yeah. What's going to happen? So the pandemic hit. That group kind of disbanded for a while, and then we started it up. And I just said, "You guys work on this. See what you can come up with. What they came up with was a bond that they asked the county council to put on the ballot. The county council voted to put that on the ballot, and it's going to be Proposition 1. It's going to raise $20 million to preserve open space, and it'll go through a similar process like RAPS, where people will apply, it'll be vetted, and we'll try to get the best bang for our buck we can with those $20 million. The other thing, the plan is to multiply those dollars. We're not just going to get $20 million worth of open space. We're going to use that to get matching grants from the federal government, from the state government, from private foundations, and multiply that. We're hoping to multiply it ideally tenfold.
It's really important right now. No exaggeration. We're seeing in real time the valley change with development, and the development's necessary, of course. But unless we plan some of this out, I worry that we are going to be, one, without options for open space, and two, the options we do have a lot more expensive. Always easier to do it in advance. I hope this one passes. We'll talk more about these as well. In fact, former Representative Jack Draxler will be with us again in a couple of weeks. That's